All right, we are live once again at the Power Up Live stage presented by Wärtsilä Energy Storage and Optimization. My name is Nico Johnson. I am your host here today, and this is one of my last interviews over 3 long days. It's been a lot of fun. If you can hear my voice and you'd like to hear from one of my favorite folks in the industry, certainly somebody that everybody seems to know, Mr. Ben Macias, please make your way down to the Power Up Live stage. You've got these lovely headphones that'll help you tune in and tune out the din of the rest of the environment here. Really focus on what Ben's got to say because he has a new job. We're going to talk about that and more as in just a moment. First, I want to take a moment and thank the rest of our sponsors, ABC Supply Company, Evlo, MGM Transformers, TrueGrid, and Fluence. We're so grateful for all the companies that help support making this stage a reality so that we can bring thought leaders like Ben Macias right here to you live on the show floor. It's the last day, and this is one of the best conversations I have been looking forward to all week. I have, Ben.
It's good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
It's, what's funny is the very first podcast stage that we put on at RE Plus, 2019, was when you had just rejoined Shoals.
Yeah, I think I had to rejoin Shoals at the end of 2017.
Yeah.
And
I guess so, yeah.
Dean and I had the opportunity to come up there with you in 2019. So that was already seems like yesterday, but
it does.
5 years ago.
So I feel like you almost need no introduction, but you've been in the industry since what year? 2009? 2010. I was close.
Yeah.
I was close. An intern for Dean Solon in your sophomore year of college, if I'm not mistaken.
After junior year.
Yeah. Got it. And went on to be the top sales guy, ended up being head of sales for Shoals, taking the company public. What a tremendous career. So the first question that I think probably everybody that you've seen at this show asks you is, why MGM? You could literally go anywhere.
Yeah. I think for me, there's a lot of parallels to what I saw in MGM at Shoals. So a very high quality product is being made in the U.S., a company that's been around for a long time, 27 years at Shoals, 28 years now. MGM's been around for 50 years.
Yeah, wow.
So, you couple that with just a phenomenal team. I went to go see them at their factory in Commerce, and really meeting the people is what really made that decision easy for me.
Yeah.
Doug Banty's our CEO, very charismatic guy, extremely intelligent, and a good people person.
Yeah. I wonder, you get a chance, and have for the last decade plus, to see exactly how projects come together, the good and the bad, because on the downside, there are a lot of things that prevent good projects from coming to conclusion on time and on budget.
Yep.
Not the least of which is getting the thing interconnected. What problem is MGM Transformer really in the business of solving?
Well, I think the magic question that I've gotten over the last couple of days is, what's your lead time?
Oh, yeah.
So second one would be, what compliance do you have for IRA? Those are the 2 hot questions of the show. But MGM is investing heavily into expansion of capacity. Again, right here in the United States in Waco, Texas. So we have a factory in Commerce that does dry type transformers. We have 2 factories in Waco that does liquid filled transformers.
Yeah, it's one of those hidden bottlenecks in the industry, isn't it?
It is.
You mentioned timelines. One of the things that we focused on in a recent visit that we did to a major solar module factory was featuring or pointing out how critical the transformer is to even bringing online things like factories. I feel like, did it surprise you at all as you kind of got into MGM just how prevalent this equipment is everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, you don't realize it until you see it and you're in it and you're immersed into the product that you're selling. But transformers needed just about every application. You go to Chipotle and there's a transformer box outside. And you go to bowling, you need a transformer outside. So new factories coming online for U.S. made modules, they need transformers to turn them on.
Yeah. What was something that early on stood out to you as aha, I had no idea, despite all my years in the industry, that this is how this thing works?
I think
Or did you already understand transformers pretty well?
No,
What do you think your customers really realize when they visit the factory, perhaps?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, a lot of as I was doing my due diligence on deciding where I wanted to go and who I wanted to work for, a lot of owners and developers, I had the opportunity to ask them, hey, what's your biggest pain point on projects? Almost instantaneously, all of them were the same answer of, hey, transformers are my biggest problem. Connections into transformers are my biggest problem.
Okay.
So
it's not just the lead time; it's the actual technical
quality.
It's a technical solution.
Yeah, and then you've got folks just not picking up the phone from a warranty customer care standpoint.
Okay, so, after the fact.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity to work with a lot of incredible people at Shoals, highly capable team. We stood up a customer care team there. We're going to do the same thing here at MGM and really take care of our customers.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of team, the thing that I think everyone noticed instantly was this sort of, I've been using this term a lot, right? In marketing, we have this, what we call a thunderclap, when you get everybody to say it at the same time. And it felt like a thunderclap of talent acquisition for MGM. So I knew that you had joined MGM, some of your other I'll say the inner circle of friends that you wanted to make sure knew that you were moving over to a new role. And then almost like that second wave in the set that happens when you're a surfer, it was like, person after person that are true subject matter experts, stars in the industry, who are coming on board MGM to join you to build sort of this dream team. Can you talk about the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people?
Well, people are the core of any company, right? And so I truly and firmly believe that you have to have highly capable leaders to build great teams, because ultimately those people take care of your customers.
Right.
So you take care of your people, they take care of your customers. And just having the opportunity to work alongside some of these industry veterans that I've long admired and, either worked with them or saw them from afar, Dana Kennard, Jeff Krantz, John Magna. I mean, these are just incredible people that I'm fortunate enough to work with. So it's really, really fun.
Yeah. A thing that stands out to me for a company that has 5 decades of experience in building transformers is actually the tenure and loyalty of the existing team at MGM. What can you tell me about that?
That was one of the things that I saw when I toured the facility. We've got winders in the factory that have been there for over 40 years.
No way.
So you walk down the hallway, you meet these people. There's folks with 9 years, 10 years, 19 years, 20 something years, 40 something. It's just incredible.
What do you get for working 40 years at MGM?
A great place to work.
A great place to work. A good culture.
Yeah, I mean.
So you mentioned winder. What is that? What kind of job is that?
So these transformers are very, very specialized, and it requires a lot of highly skilled labor to assemble these. So, one of the bigger bottlenecks, and again, the challenge that the industry has seen is that transformer availability, hasn't caught up with the demand. And that's because, folks that are winding these cores are, it takes them a long time.
They're doing it by hand.
Yeah. So it takes them a long time to be trained and do it right. One pinhole in a transformer could blow the whole thing up if it's not done right.
Where would a pinhole be? I don't understand.
And the Nomex and the wire.
Yeah. I have no idea how transformers work. Does it surprise you how many of your friends in the industry just are clueless about how transformers work?
No, I think everybody is. It's a component that has no mechanical parts. It doesn't move.
It's kind of a ghost component.
Yeah, there's no real failure modes of transformers other than what I just mentioned. But it doesn't move. It's static. It's a pretty elegant design that we've been using for 100 years. So.
Can I ask you for some, just help me with some technical jargon? Wet versus dry?
Okay. Yeah. So, dry transformer, we make those in Commerce. Low voltage or medium voltage transformers. And then liquid filled is, you have a core that's submersed into a tank.
Yeah.
With either mineral oil or FR3.
Yeah. And I know that you're not an electrical engineer, but what is the differentiation in terms of the application of one versus the other?
It's just a different type of insulating material that's used for the cores.
Yeah, and is one preferable for a specific size project?
I would say liquid fields are used predominantly in renewables, in the solar and energy storage space, more so than dry. But it really just depends upon the enclosure that's used, the NEMA rating of the enclosure. So we want to make sure we keep things like dust out, so it doesn't affect the windings.
Of course. So it's fascinating to me that transformers, as you said, they're ubiquitous and they support the entire electrification space. It's not just individual projects. Are we seeing more capacity come online to support the growth of electrification? Notably, as you pointed out, the transformer is not something that's isolated as a bottleneck to just the solar industry. How do we remove that bottleneck?
I mean, it's really reinvesting into the business, and that's something that MGM's been committed to doing over the last year, is reinvesting into the business, growing capacity, and removing the bottleneck of just that supply constraint that is affecting projects.
Yeah. Help me understand why the technology still exists today as it did, almost the same as it did 50 years ago.
It goes back to what I said earlier, is that the design is already elegant. It hasn't really changed because it doesn't need to. There's no moving parts, no failure modes, as I mentioned earlier. And so, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
There's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that, maybe folks don't see. Efficiencies have gotten better over time. We have a highly skilled and quite large engineering team, a team of 20 led by our very own Dr. David Walker. He's the man, but he's been making transformers for over 40 years.
Wow.
And so we're very fortunate to have Dr. David on our team, and he's a tremendous resource for us.
How long does a transformer last?
I would say at least 30 years, but
30,
empirically it's a little bit longer than that.
Got it. So at least match the asset life of what we are currently warranting solar farms are, for sure. What's next for MGM then?
We've been very fortunate to be accepted almost instantly. We've been kind of the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain for a long time, supporting many companies. But I think just reinvesting into the manufacturing, bringing Waco online next year is going to be fantastic for us, and we're just going to continue to grow our capacity and support customers and really take care of them. That's, at the end of the day, that's what we need to do.
Well, it's one of those conversations that has become, I feel like over the last year, been a lot more prevalent. I had Dan Gerard on the podcast recently, and he talked about the real need for working with better transformer companies. I know that you guys have a long history with Dan and his team and the EPC, and all the way back to his S&C days. So it's good to see good teams coalescing around the hard problems, the ones that we really need to accelerate. Ben Macias is the Chief Revenue Officer now at MGM Transformer, building a dream team to help resolve the problems at the real bottleneck of our utility-scale transformation of this grid. Thank you, Ben, for everything you're doing.
Thanks for having me.